quite there yet. I'm going to wait until something bobs up. I don't know if anybody can hear me chattering away. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning, and we are live. Good morning, good morning. It is Thursday morning. I've no idea what the date is. I think it must be somewhere around 16th, maybe, possibly, is it? Or could it be the 17th of September? Who knows? Anyway, here we are. And first of all, before we begin, I'd like to say good morning to Grey Eagle, as always, who's standing to my right side. And I'd also like to say good morning to Chris. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, everyone.
What date is it actually? Is it the 16th or the 17th?
It is the 16th. It's my dad's birthday today, and also my
Oh,
mother-in-law's.
oh, happy birthday to Chris's dad. So that's nice, Chris. Who knew? Um, it's also today is a very special day for many, many people who will not be watching probably because no eating, no drinking, no nothing until whatever time it is. I'm not sure if anybody out there knows what time it is that the Jewish community is allowed to begin eating after Yom Kippur today. It is, we would like to wish everybody a happy holiday or whatever that is that they celebrate today. So we do wish every one of you to know that we remember. And if anybody out there is having a birthday, or if anybody's having a celebration, or if anybody out there is sort of, celebrating something or honoring something, we'd love to know those things. So please let us know and we'll give you a mention. Chris, what have you been up to over the weekend and this last week?
You know, they say respite is a good thing, so I did a Netflix bonanza on Sunday. That was my big thing.
A Netflix bonanza. Oh, I love those. I love those things. So, what did watch anything good or interesting, or did you just veg out?
It was a mixture of romance movies,
Oh,
which
okay.
tend to be my favorite. They're feel-good movies. They're very light and airy, nothing too deep to think about, and you smile.
Well, I have an admission to make about a feel good movie because last week when I was sort of couldn't move about very much, my foot was not usable. Let's put it that way. And I actually watched. You're not going to believe this, Chris, because it's summertime, but I actually watched a Christmas movie because love I love those really awful, awful, awful Hallmark Christmas movies. Don't you love when Christmas starts to come around and they start to have those Christmas movies? I love to watch those and just to veg out and to just be ridiculous. And I also, like you, I love to have movie fests. I've actually gone to cinema on a few occasions, actually, not just once or twice, but quite a few occasions. You know, when they have different screens. The theatre has maybe, small theatres, maybe 10 or 20 or something, and they have movies going on at all the different ones. And I have literally gone from one movie to the next movie to the next movie. And on two or three occasions, I've done three movies all in a row because the timing's been perfect. You know, one movie ends, and in 5 or 10 minutes' time, the movie on another screen starts, and then in 5 or 10 minutes after that ends, another movie starts. Have you ever done that, Chris?
Not at a movie theater, no.
It's so fun to do. You
Wow.
do need to stock up on drinks, and you do need lots of popcorn or snacks or something of that nature. But yeah, it's such a fun thing to do. And so, there's nothing nicer than on a rainy Sunday to sort of take yourself off at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for the first showing of one movie, then going to the next, and then even going to the next one after that is so much fun. All right, so enough about movies. Do we actually have anybody watching? Is it, wait. What is that phrase I like to say? Is there anybody there?
There are people here, but I have yet to have a question come into the chat room, so please start sending your questions.
Do we have any
Um,
comments?
we do. Katrina's on for the first time, and she
Hi,
hopes
Katrina.
everyone's doing well. Um, Gary's on and
Hi,
Eric's
Gary.
on. They're saying hello. Let's see. Shamanth just said, "Today I had a dream in which I saw some dark clouds, lightning, and floods. And in the dream, I even thought of Gray Eagle. Can you please ask Gray Eagle if there is any message for me?"
Not right now. You never know. We'll revisit perhaps, but right now, no, not at all. But but we shall see as we go along. Interesting dream.
All right, so now we have another first timer, Alana. So welcome, Alana. I
Hi,
love to see
Alana.
new faces and names in this chat room. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I'm just waiting for people to send in their questions or their comments.
Well, I think this is great. No one has a question, and you've just all come here to listen to me. Why don't I tell you a story? I'll tell you a story. I'm not going to tell you where this story comes from because um, my daughter had a guest yesterday, and he, this lovely man who shall be nameless, looked at me and he said, "There's only you that I could tell this story to, Rosemary." I said, "Okay, I'm listening." And he was telling me how he had a friend of his who at one point had been in a very dark place, and this guy was very instrumental in helping his friend to come out of that dark place. And now this friend of his is doing really, really well, etc., etc. Um, his friend had sort of came from a fairly wealthy family. And his father, it turns out, is very well known in the financial world. Anyway, his father, this friend of my daughter's, his friend, his father died in the World Trade Center, 9/11. And so, for the very first time yesterday, uh, this friend was telling me he went to the wherever it is you go. He went to the memorial. He was describing the room that he was in, with probably at least 2 or 3 thousand photos pinned. He said it was quite a small room, but every inch of every wall in this small room had photos. Every inch was covered in photos of all of the people who had died in 9/11. And he he was so overwhelmed that at some point he felt he couldn't do it anymore. He felt he couldn't stay there anymore. So he began to walk back out of the entrance, and he thought to himself, I'm just going to see if I can just look at one photograph and honor one person in this room with my thoughts and my prayers. So he turned back to go into the room, and the first photograph he saw was the photograph of his friend's father. Out of the thousands of photos that were in the room, there he found himself staring at the photograph of his friend's father. And I said, well, maybe, there are no coincidences. Things happen for a reason. And maybe you're looking at his friend's father's photo because there is a connection between you, first of all, and perhaps his father is absolutely thrilled that you were able to help his son get out of the dark place that he was in. And he said to me, I couldn't tell that story to anybody else. They'd think I was crazy. But he said, I knew it wasn't a coincidence. I knew that when I turned around in all of this sea of faces, his was the first one, and the one that I decided that I would honor, not knowing who it would be. He said there are no coincidences, and I'm sure that it was something that was absolutely meant to be. And guess what? I think it was meant to be. And I felt afterwards, I was listening to this story, and then I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was thinking, it's such a shame that he felt that there was only me that and also coincidentally, he wasn't supposed to be here yesterday, and coincidentally he turned up, and coincidentally I was here for him to tell the story to, for him to share with, because he couldn't share with anybody else. He felt awkward about sharing that story with anybody else. So everything fell into place for him that day. So, and I felt how sad it is that we feel. And so I know so many of you have had your own experiences. You've had, sort of maybe some spooky experiences or some unexplained experiences. And how sad it is that you can't share them with people, or we feel sometimes that we can't share them. There are certain people we can't share them with. So I thought I would, because he can't share with anyone else, I thought I'd share his story with you, because I think it's a great story. Chris, how are we doing?
We're doing great. Hey, that reminds me of, I mean, we've heard it from a lot of people and I've experienced it myself. You walk into a bookstore and with the thousands of books that are in the bookstore, it seems as though a book just jumps out at you. And usually that book is your book. But it's similar to your story.
You know, years and years ago, I was told by an amazing healer friend of mine, I was told, if you're ever in doubt and you've got no one to talk to, or if you want to have a prayer and you feel that it's not being answered, he said, get your favorite book. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a romance book, Chris. I know you love romance books. It can be a romance book. It can be a spiritual book. It can be the Bible. It can be any book you want. And then he said to me, then you just sort of send out your question to the universe. You close your eyes. You open the book randomly at any page. Somewhere on that page there'll be a message for you. Somewhere on that page there'll be an answer. Even if it's not a full answer necessarily, there'll be a part of an answer to the questions that you're asking, or there'll be a phrase or a sentence that will reassure you of the concerns that you have or the worries that you have. Well, I thought, sounds a little odd. Why? I mean, you would think, wouldn't you, that you'd have to have some kind of spiritual tone to in order for this to work. But I can assure you, and I've tried it on many occasions over the years, many times, and with many books, with many different books. And there it is. It's amazing. And as you look at the page that you've opened to, you'll find that the words that you need, those reassurances or those answers or those, whatever it is that you're looking for, you'll find that all of a sudden it's almost as if those words find you. It's your soul is seeking out the words to show you and to give you that reassurance. So anyone out there, try it, see what happens for you, because I can tell you absolutely that it's worked for me over and over and over again. Have you ever tried that, Chris?
I don't think I've tried it specifically in the way you've described it. I have found in reading a book that suddenly a word, a phrase, a sentence will jump out about something I had been pondering. So I would say it's
No,
very close to what you're saying.
no, it isn't really, because this is very different. Because what you're doing is you're putting your thoughts out there into the universe. You're sort of reaching out. Your soul, your spirit is reaching out to the universe, and you're asking specifically for help and guidance. So it's not at all the same, because there are no accidents. Nothing is coincidental. We know that. Um, but when you do that and you deliberately are reaching out and you're looking for help and advice, and you don't have anyone near to you or next to you that you might trust enough to give you that help and advice, when you reach out to the universe, it's amazing how they can help you and guide you and steer you in the littlest of ways. So although I know what you're saying about, sometimes I read a book and I have to stop, and then I think I've got to write this down, and I write it down, otherwise I shall forget it. But it's a phrase or a piece of information that sort of is, sort of resounds within me. So I know what you're saying about that, but what I'm suggesting is a whole different thing. Looking for help, looking for guidance, and the opening of the book to any page, any book, any page. Um, I'm not sure. I'm going to modify that slightly. I'm not sure you'd find it in a cookbook, but you never know. I've never tried it with a cookbook. Maybe I'll try. Anyway, so pretty much any book, and it's amazing how what you need will jump out at you. Okay, Chris.
So it looks like we'll all try that tonight, and maybe on the thread of this in Facebook or YouTube or wherever people are engaging with us, they can write what happened. That would be
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
let us know. Yes, please let us know.
All
Okay.
right. So Katrina has responded to your earlier story saying that's a beautiful story.
Yes.
And is it possible that spirits grow after they pass? My twin brother passed, and I'm always wondering if he has grown up with me.
Well, yes, I do have Grey Eagle's hand on my shoulder here. So we are getting some information for you about your brother, and I feel very much that you are together still. He is with you still. You know this. I'm sure you know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But growing with you, growing alongside you. So yes, you know, there's a fantastic story that I tell. It's an amazing story. When I tell these stories, I'm often transported right back to those moments when these things actually happened. And the story that I'm going to tell you, this amazing story, is about a twin. Okay. So I had a lady come to see me. Actually, 3 or 4 ladies came to see me, and they took it in turns. And the one lady looked at me and she sat down in front of me. She said, "Well, I don't really want anything, and I don't know why I'm here actually, because I just came to make the numbers up. I took somebody else's place. There were supposed to be 4 of them, and one backed out for some reason. So here I am. So I don't know why I'm here." Okay, so as I looked at her, I could see it. I'm going to say this lady was probably in her early to mid 50s, let's say that. And she had obviously died, not obviously, because I actually don't dye my hair. I used to dye it when I was a teenager. I used to dye it, when I was in my 20s. And I once went blonde when I was in my 20s and never again, and it stopped me. So I don't dye my hair. People don't believe me, but I don't dye my hair at all. Anyway, just a few little strands of grey around the edges there. Anyway, getting off track here. So here she was, and obviously with her hair had perhaps over the years been dyed several different times. Anyway, it's important to the story that I tell you that. And so I see a man immediately standing next to her who is roughly the same age, I'm going to say in his, early to mid 50s. And he starts to talk to me, and I'm listening to what he's saying. He keeps saying that he's a twin. Now, sometimes in the spirit world, you can miss a word or not, hear a little word makes all the difference to the sentence, makes all the difference to the context of what you're hearing. So you have to be very, very vigilant. I have to be very vigilant when I'm listening to those in the spirit world and what they're saying to me. But he was saying that she was a twin. And so I said, "Oh, I understand you're a twin." No. And that confused me. So, and I'm thinking, "Oh, maybe she's a Gemini. Are you a Gemini?" No. Right. So I said, "Well, I've got this man." I described him to her. Again, I'm reminding you, early to mid 50s, right? And I looked at him, and he's nodding emphatically, and he's saying, she's a twin. So I say to her, "Well, I'm a bit confused. I've got this gentleman here, and he's insisting that you're a twin. So I don't quite know where to go with this, because you tell me that you're not a twin." And she looked at me and she said, "Well," now remember, this lady didn't know why she was there. She didn't particularly want anything. She was not looking to speak to anybody in the spirit world. She said, "Well, you know, I was born a twin. I had a twin brother, but he died at 4 days old. And this man, early to mid 50s, looked at me and smiled, and he said, yes, that's me. So you've asked, right? Do they grow? Do they learn? And that's one example of very often what will happen. Now, he also said, because she looked at me, she thought I was crazy, because if a baby dies at 4 days old, then isn't that what you're going to see? If you're going to see something in the spirit world, isn't that what you're going to see? So she said, well, how can that be? So to give her the evidence that she was looking for, he said to her, can you just tell her that I'm Charlie, and I play with her girls often. Now, her girls were now in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s. Okay, so she looked at me, but as soon as I said, I'm Charlie, and I said to her, he said he's Charlie, and he had fun in the bathroom. Well, it turned out that they lived in a house when her girls were young. And in this house, there was what they thought was a poltergeist. They would wake up every morning and go into the bathroom. They'd find towels that had been put on towel rails and straightened before they went to bed. They'd find them on the floor. They'd find them in the bath. Charlie apparently, so they knew that, and there was a lot of mischief went on in that house, and they realized or accepted that there was a poltergeist. It was very benign, very friendly. They didn't bother them at all. The girls, these lovely sisters, had such fun with Charlie, and they nicknamed him Charlie. Charlie's been at it again. Charlie's been moving the towels. Charlie's this and this. And this lovely twin brother who had died when he was 4 days old, who had grown up and was growing alongside his twin, was part of their family. And he wanted them to know, tell them I'm Charlie. I was the poltergeist. I was the one who played mischief on my nieces. Interesting story, don't you think, Chris?
I love hearing stories like that.
Anyway, I think that might answer your question, but guess what? Every time I answer a question, you know what happens, don't you? Then there are 1,000 more come along. Well, if that's the case, what if this? And if that's the case, what if this? One question, one answer leading to another question, another answer leading to another question. We could go on and on and on with this. Let's keep going, Chris.
All right. Renee says, my cousin passed away unexpectedly. We weren't getting along for quite some time. I had to forgive her for her trespasses against me. I now feel it to be an honor to be her son's godmother in a very committed way, something I couldn't do while she was alive. Do you feel any affirmation, any nod from her from heaven?
I feel a nod from Great Eagle, who is saying, as aren't we mortals? Can't we be a pain in the butt sometimes? She shouldn't have said this, and she upset me about this, and he should certainly not have done that. And we often get worked up and worried or angry or frustrated or hurt by what we perceive to be other people's meanness or indifference or whatever it is. We forget, and I was saying this to my daughter recently, life is short. You do not know when something is going to happen, because our life begins amazingly and it ends amazingly, whether we are sick for a long time, whether we are old, really, really old, and we know, and everybody knows at any minute now we're going to collapse and that's the end of us, or whether we're walking down a sunny street one day, we're smiling and we're happy and everything's fine, and suddenly we're gone. And I hear that story more times than you care to believe. So life is very short. You never know when it is, going to take a turn. So for all of you out there who've listened to this lovely story from this lovely lady who is definitely getting the nod from Grey Eagle. So don't worry. Yes, everything is fine and everything is, as it should be. Um, if you are upset with somebody who you really love or you really care about, if you're upset with someone or you have a disagreement with someone or you're feeling hurt by someone, for goodness sake, stop nursing your hurts and your worries and your concerns. Go knock on somebody's door or pick up the phone and say, can we talk? And you hurt me, and that person 9 times out of 10 will say, I'm really very sorry, I didn't mean to do that, and they'll be genuine about it. And those who say, well, you deserved it because you hurt me and you did this to me, that's me, like kids on the playground, please go sort it out, because you never know when life is going to take that turn for you, and you won't be here either. All of those things you want to say to your children, all of those things you want to say to your families, all of those things that you need to say, um, get them said, can you? Nicely, happily, lovingly get them said. None of us are perfect. So while you're holding on to your grievances and while you're holding on to your hurts and pains, you know, understand, please take a step back. You shouldn't be expecting somebody else to be perfect. You shouldn't be expecting somebody else to be a mind reader, because none of us are. And if somebody's hurt you, for goodness sake, stop nursing your hurt and go and talk to them. I promise you, if you do that, you'll be really, really grateful that you did. Go, Chris.
Shamanth is asking, what are your thoughts on lucid dreaming? Is it a spiritual practice worth doing? Have you ever practiced it? And if so, can you please share your experience?
Well, how much time do we have? How long? How many years have we got? Uh, I think that dreams. Do you know there are different types of dreams? There are those dreams that we have when all of our worries and our concerns and our fears come to the fore, and they are those dreams that are expressing our emotions. Then there are those dreams that we have. I mean, we have dreams when we can dream when we're awake. Don't we call it daydreaming or something? But some of those dreams can be very, very powerful and very significant and insightful. Um, Dreams are often those times when we're in that dream state. Those times are often when our loved ones in the spirit world come and visit with us, and on and on and on and on we can go about dreams. But um, I think dreams overall are magical. They can help us, they can guide us, and they can steer us. That's all I'm going to say about that, because if we started talking about dreams, we wouldn't be talking about anything else today. Chris.
Mary says, I'm so happy that you love Christmas movies. Instead of being hurt that Jewish people do not believe in Jesus, I choose to love the Jewish traditions because Jesus was a Jew.
Well, anybody who's upset that other people don't believe in what they believe in needs to get a grip. Everybody is entitled to their own belief. Everybody's entitled to their own belief system. Everybody is entitled to their own faith, as long as it doesn't hurt or harm another. Why wouldn't we embrace somebody else's belief and belief system? Why wouldn't we honor people who don't believe? Somebody said to me just yesterday, well, you know I'm a really nice person, and he is. I'm a really nice person, but I don't believe in God. That was not the guy who I was telling the story about before. I don't believe in God, and I don't believe in all of that stuff. And did I argue with him? Did I try to convince him? I don't care what he believes in. He's a nice, good, genuine, honest person. So whatever he believes in is it's why not? It's fine. I'm not going to convince him of my beliefs. Why would I? I'm What concerns me is my own belief and living my belief and living my belief every day, and that's not an easy thing to do. So if any of you out there don't talk to someone or don't have anything to do with someone because they're of a different faith or a different religion, or you know to just good for goodness sake, get a grip. I just said life is short. We should be embracing each other. And we should be embracing each other's differences as well as other similarities. Chris.
Desiree wants to know, is Mickey and Mommy together again?
Didn't you ask me this question once before? I'm sure I've had this question once before. There is a resounding yes coming from Grey Eagle, so he must know how important that the answer is to you. So there's a resounding yes. Chris, moving on.
Sharon says, I was going around my house with my incense sticks,
Oh,
saying my prayers. When I tried to go into my sister in law's room, my shirt sleeve got stuck in the door handle.
well, you're obviously not meant to go into your sister in law's room. And again, is it an invasion of her privacy? Uh, we have to let people be who they are. Sharon, I know your situation. I know it's hard. What you need to do is to be working on you and your good energy and just, making sure that you're able to deal with any negativity that is out there, not worrying about somebody else and somebody else's negativity. I actually said to this same person who didn't believe in God, I actually said to him yesterday because he was saying how overworked he was and that's why he said he was a nice guy because he struggles to help people and he does. And I said to him, when I first began this work, and I'm going to tell you all, the hardest word, the most difficult word, it's a little two-letter word. The hardest word I had to say was no, but I learned to say it. And once I learned to say it, it was great. People can only do to you what you allow them to do. So sometimes we have to say no to the negativity. We have to push it away from us and we have to move forward and focus on what we're doing and what we want. So, Sharon, focus on you, my darling, because that's who you deserve to focus on. Chris.
Carolyn wants to know, have you ever read anything written by Eckhart Tolle? He
I
popped
have.
up yesterday on YouTube about living in the present and was very interesting.
Yes, I have. Yes.
All right. Vanessa says, in big capital letters, Rosemary Altea, I love you.
Who is
Lately,
this?
this is Vanessa. She says, lately I see shadows at night. Someone want to tell me something? I am often down in the dumps, very anxious, and always worried about humanity.
It seems to me, Vanessa, thank you, darling, for that. And I love you too. I love that you put that in big letters so that we wouldn't miss it. I think that's great. But here's what I think. I think that people in the spirit world, people who love you are gathering around you and they're trying to get through to you that you're not on your own. And I know from what Grey Eagle tells me that you feel, even when you're in a crowded room, you feel very alone sometimes. And what they're trying to say to you is you're not alone. And Grey Eagle is telling me to give you this message. And this message is learn to trust in you. And you can do it. Okay, Chris.
Mary says, my husband and I are torn about the COVID vaccine. I'm fully vaccinated, but my husband refuses to get the shot. Do I plead for him to get vaccinated for the safety of our family?
No. Uh, you know, if you were in front of me, I would say to you, I would ask you this question. Do you trust your husband to be a good husband, a good father, a good family man? And do you really think that he would do anything at all to harm or to damage his family? Look, you have the COVID vaccination or you don't have the COVID vaccination. I was heard on the radio yesterday in New York City. Uh, they're offering $100 to anybody and everybody who has a COVID vaccination because they're now trying to entice those people who haven't had the vaccination to have the vaccination. So they're now paying people to have the vaccination. We we're in a society of, what is that American song that everybody sings about freedom and about liberty and about freedom of choice? We have freedom of choice in the Western world of ours, and we should value it so very highly. And yet, people are trying to force other people using guilt, using money, whatever it is that you're using. People have to choose for themselves. And I suspect also, my lovely, that the more you push your husband, the more he's going to push back. So the more you push him, the more he's going to, decide not to do it. I'm sure he has his own reasons, and I'm sure he thinks those reasons are valid. He has the vaccination or he doesn't. You have the vaccination or you don't. I have the vaccination or I don't. If anyone tried to interfere with my choice, and people have from time to time, I would be furious. You can't choose for others. Choose for your own self and trust your husband. Chris.
Randy says, my best friend lost her mother yesterday. Her mother was her world. How
Oh,
can I support her?
well, it sounds to me like you're already doing that. How lovely of you. It sounds like you're very concerned for her. So be a friend. I think listening in this is most important this time for her. She needs people to listen to her. And I'm going to say something to you which may sound very weird, very strange, because you can go into a house where somebody's grieving. And I would say, listen to what they're saying to you, listen to what they're telling you. Because listening is all important. And you might say to me, well, I went yesterday and she wouldn't talk and she didn't say anything. But by our very silence, we have a very loud voice. So sometimes somebody's inability to talk will tell you volumes about them, that they are hurting so much. So in those moments of silence, that deafening silence, which is telling you so much, then that's when you hold her hand, or you make her a cup of tea, or you say, let's watch a movie, but you're there for her and you're with her as much as you can be. And that's all that we can do, is to listen. Even in the silences, we listen and we learn. You may also want to share some of our videos with her if you feel that that would be helpful. You may also suggest to her, I don't know if she's a reader, but I know that so many people facing new bereavement run into the bookstores. They run to our website to get The Eagle and the Rose. Of all of the books that I've written, and I've written many, The Eagle and the Rose is that one where people can begin. So you might want to think about getting her The Eagle and the Rose. And many bookstores carry it. You can get it online, but if you really, really want it, just email us, Chris, K-R-I-S, at rosemaryaltea.com, or rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, or go to our website, rosemaryaltea.com, and you'll find a way to get The Eagle and the Rose. And you can get it in paperback. I'm not sure if there are any hardcovers out there. I know I have a few, but not too many. But it doesn't matter how you read it, as long as you read it, does it? And that is, it's a book of enlightenment. It's the book that is probably the book that I'm most remembered for, and it's the book that gives people the most encouragement, the most help. So maybe you could start with those things, but sit with her and be a friend to her. That's the thing I can tell you. Chris.
All right, Solomon looks like maybe new on is saying hello and how are
Hi.
you doing? And I'm with you. Do you have any messages for me?
Not right now. I'm actually just to let you all know, I'm actually still struggling with my little foot. My leg is still up here. Um, it's very hard to concentrate when it's not only my foot that's hurting, it's my leg that's hurting, because I'm actually sitting at a funny angle doing this. Or they sound like really poor excuses, but there we have it. That's what's happening with me today. So unfortunately not today, but please, please, please don't keep trying. So we're here Thursdays, and we're here on Saturdays, and we're doing some off the cuff stuff. I think we might do an off the cuff later on today. I don't know about you, Chris. How do you feel?
Well, if you've decided that's what we're doing, that's what I'll be doing.
Well, I don't know how busy you are or what your plans are or what you're doing, but watch for an off the cuff people today. Chris.
That's so funny. Mosley's saying, I have been thinking of my brother for a few days now. I miss him so and have a hard time dealing with this.
Well, often when and I think I think you know where I'm going with this, because I think you know that when we start to think, uh, not excessively, but when we start to think a lot about our loved ones, and when they keep coming into our mind seemingly for no reason, uh, that's when they're closest to us. So I have a sense here that your brother is trying to tap you on the shoulder to say to you, I'm here, don't you worry, I'm right by your side, I'm here with you. And that may be because you're going through a little bit of a tough time, or it may be that you're going through an exciting time. And those in the spirit world want to share with us whatever we are going through. So, I'm sure you know, my darling, that your brother is very, very much with you. Keep going, Chris.
Betta's asking if my prayers to my guardian angel have arrived, because I hope in my next future there will be an improvement for my family. And do you know when that will happen?
Well, I can tell you better. I do love you, and I do love you coming on our shows, and I do love your questions. However, I'm going to tell you, you know this already. As soon as you send out your prayers, they have arrived. In fact, it's almost as if they arrived before we've even thought those prayers, because of the difference in time and the experience of time. I'm setting myself up here for more questions about time in the spirit world versus time here on this earth. But anyway, our thoughts, our prayers are living things, tiny, tiny, tiny little pulses of energy. And as we are thinking them, they are automatically already going out there into the universe and are gathered up by those we send them to. So your prayers are received immediately, your thoughts are received immediately. So, yes, have they arrived? You know better, you know that they have already. They've arrived the moment you sent them out there. And as for your family, be patient. Oh gosh, don't you hate it when somebody says be patient? I hate it when people say to me, be patient, it will happen, but it will happen. Things will get better. Chris.
Carmen is saying, I have been wondering, do our loved ones' souls come back to Earth on a different body or a different sex?
Well, that's what we talk about when we talk about reincarnation. And uh, there, there are many faiths, many religions that believe that as soon as you leave this earth, you then are reincarnated back into another body. Sometimes, yes, another sex. If you were a male, you could now be a female, etc. There are many belief systems that believe that. I personally don't believe that. I think that we take our time. When we leave, we go to the spirit world, we have a chance to explore, we have a chance to learn, we have a chance to grow. And at some point in the future, some of us do choose to come back here and do this all over again, but some of us choose to go elsewhere. And as we're thinking about this, as human beings, we do, don't we, like to put things in boxes. We put time in a box. We put months and years in boxes. We have to have our order. So putting things into boxes gives us order and gives us a sense of having some sort of control over time, which of course we don't, but it gives us a sense of having that. It makes us, as human beings, comfortable with sort of slotting things into little boxes. The spirit world is not like that. And remember, because we see things as sort of in a much narrower way, the universe and the many, many universes that are out there are for us to explore if we choose. So Some people may choose to come back here and do this all over again. Yes, maybe in a different body, different sex. Who knows? They choose, or they are helped to make those choices. Some of us choose to travel to other places, to newer places, to different places. Some of us choose to stay where we are, to learn, to grow, and to discover, and to wait for those we love to come before we set off on our travels. Lots of different options. Chris.
I want to push a little agenda of my own at this point because of what you just said there. So, Rosemary is on LinkedIn, and it's a fairly new social media for us in the office. And in order for Rosemary to go live, like she's going on Facebook Live right now or YouTube Live, we need some more subscribers. So, I'm going to put a link in the chat room and see if you all can sign up through LinkedIn so that we can reach more people.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thanks for that, Chris. I just want to mention to people, I know that lots of people don't subscribe. You know, I love YouTube. I watch lots of things on YouTube. My daughter said to me yesterday, "You're obsessed with the YouTube channel," but you know, so is my grandson, because you can learn. You find so much on YouTube to learn and so on. But I'm always nervous about subscribing because I do not want to get those daily, hourly emails that people send out. I do not want to get those advertisements that suddenly you're inundated with. If you subscribe with us, we only will send out maybe 2 or 3 emails a month, not a week, not a day, a month. And one of those emails will be our monthly newsletter. And in that newsletter, we talk about what we're planning, what's going on, what you can look forward to, what you can expect that we're going to be doing. And also in that email, Chris insists that I write a little blurb. She twists my arm because I often forget to do it until the last minute. But I love to do it. So I love to. And the last newsletter that we sent out, I told the story of how all of my puppies that I've ever had came to visit. Yes, I'm not going to tell you any more than that. We might share that story on Facebook. We might share that story on our website. So go check it out. Yes, it does. It is helpful to us because it does spread the word. So if you would be so kind, even during watching this, but if not after watching this, if you would go and click the subscribe button, go to our website, rosemaryaltea.com, all one word, and you'll see there's a little subscribe button. All you have to do is click it. You don't have to pay anything, it doesn't cost you anything, and I promise you will not be inundated with daily, hourly, even weekly emails. So go subscribe. Thank you. Chris.
I love that. All right. Katrina said it's been amazing listening to your stories. The story specifically about the twin, because it represents similar circumstances to her own. She's a
Yes.
twin, she's in Gemini, and her brother passed at birth.
Oh, wow. Well, there you have it then. Oh, so you really relate to that story then. You'll find that story and other fascinating stories in The Eagle and the Rose. And if you haven't read The Eagle and the Rose, we this year, and in May, we had a full month where we were so exhausted by the end of the month. We did something every day and sometimes 2 or 3 somethings every day. Once I get back to Florida next week, hopefully, if my foot holds up, we're going to be doing more and more and more again. But this year is the 25th anniversary of The Eagle and the Rose. It was published in the USA 25 years ago. I think it was published in Australia maybe 25 and a half years ago or something, maybe 26 years ago. But we're celebrating this year the 25th anniversary. I know I don't look old enough. I know when I said to you earlier on, I don't dye my hair. I mean, take a look at this good old stuff. Look at this. It's amazing. I do not dye my hair. I'm just thinking, is there anything on it? No, there's nothing on it today. So, yes, some people think I'm a whirling dervish. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's some community somewhere in some remote country had these dancers. They were called the whirling dervishes, who dance so fast that they then use up so much energy that somehow or another it has to do with staying young and so on. I'm not a whirling dervish, but I do have a lot of energy, so maybe that's why. Or it could be something to do with the fact that my daddy didn't go grey until he was 70. And he only just started to go grey and then he died anyway. So that didn't matter. But why am I yackering on about this? Why am I going on? Let me see. Um, you know, 25 years seems like a long time, but it's a blink of an eye. So for all of you out there who have not read yet The Eagle and the Rose, get it. You can email us, Chris, Kris, at rosemaryaltea.com, or you can email me, Rosemary, at rosemaryaltea.com. Chris will get the email anyway, but we'll show you, or you can go to the website, rosemaryaltea.com, all one word, and click, and you'll see where the books are, and you can get it from there. You see how simple and easy it is. And for those of you who have read The Eagle and the Rose, and you're thinking, oh, I read that book ages ago, get it out, dust it off, blow off the cobwebs, read it again. Because it's one of those books that it's just, you don't date, it doesn't date. You would never know that it was written 25 years ago. And the stories that are in there, and in fact, the stories that are written in all of my books are so amazing and so fascinating. Do you know the most amazing and the fascinating thing is about all of those stories that I tell? Oh, wait a minute. What is the most amazing and fascinating thing? Well, I'll tell you, shall I? They're all true. Chris.
Shamanth said, since you were both talking about movies earlier, I would love to know your thoughts on the movie The Sixth Sense, in which a boy can see ghosts and spirits.
I know that movie. I was called by the Larry King, whoever sorted that show, used to sort that show out. When that book came out, the author of the book, because he was the author of the movie, should I say? He wrote the movie. It was a little bit naughty, because if you've ever read The Eagle and the Rose, you will know there are two differences between The Eagle and the Rose and The Sixth Sense. The Eagle and the Rose had a sort of a not such a nice mummy, and of course the girl was me. In The Sixth Sense, the boy, not a girl, there's a boy who has a lovely mummy, confused but lovely. Other than that, the story is pretty much the same story. So I can't tell you that The Sixth Sense is my story, but there are too many similarities. There are too many situations. So Larry King decided that he would have, and I didn't tell him this at all. He decided that he would have the author of the movie, the writer of the movie, on the show. A very nice guy. But he said to me, I want you to come, and I want you to come into the studio, Rosemary. Will you come in and talk to us? And that's what I did. And we discussed the movie The Sixth Sense. By the way, I think it was Bruce Willis. I love that movie. I remember my daughter came home one night, sort of like she'd been out with friends, she'd been to the movies, then gone for a drink afterwards or something. And she came and woke me up at sort of 1 o'clock in the morning. Mum, I've got something to tell you. You've got to go see this movie. You've got to go see this movie. Because she knew that it was my story. So I did go to see the movie. I love the movie. It doesn't matter whether it was stolen from me or it doesn't, who cares, because it's a great, great story. And it is, in fact, very true, very, very true to how things work. And if you read The Eagle and the Rose and then you watch the movie, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I love that movie, and I do love, pretty sure it was Bruce Willis. I love the whole concept of the, I'm not going to tell you anymore. Just go see it. If you want to do a movie binge, let me give you some movies. I can tell you, start with The Sixth Sense. Brilliant. It's an older movie, but you would never know it. It's a brilliant movie. Then please go to Ghost Town because Ricky Gervais is hilarious in this movie, but it's a very poignant movie. And even though it's funny and cute, and you'll have a blast watching this movie, it's also very, very real as to how things are and as to how things happen. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, those are my two recommendations for you to watch this weekend: The Sixth Sense. And once you've done with The Sixth Sense, if you want to smile and be happy after that movie, because it is a little bit, it's tough in places. Um, watch Ghost Town, and just you'll love it. And yeah, and even if you don't like Ricky Gervais, he's great in this movie. Let me tell you, Chris.
So we have about 5 minutes left. We'll see how many
Okay,
questions we can get in here.
okay.
Ida says, last year I lost my mom for health problems. I was alone at home and nobody helped me during her departure from the pandemic. I'd like to know if she's with my father now, and I'd like to know if she's okay.
I'm listening to Gregor, who is saying yes and yes. I know that it's so hard. In fact, I have a friend at the moment, a friend of hers, her husband is in the hospital. He's struggling. He's in the intensive care unit, and she's not being allowed to go in to be with him. And so I understand that this is happening to so many people. But please, please, please know that she's safe, know that she's well, and know that she's happy. Please, Chris.
Gabriella says, I wonder if I'm in the right road. I have an interview for a new job. I need to change, but not sure for this one. Could Gray Eagle or Grandpa, whose birthday is also today, give me some advice?
Happy birthday. Uh, I'm listening to Greg Eagle. Go for it, is what they're saying. Change is very scary, isn't it? Most people don't change because they get comfortable, in that old pair of shoes. They know they should throw them out, but they don't want to. So I think go for it. Just try, and you're not happy where you are. So figure a way to get out of it and to get into a better situation. Whether it's this job you're going for an interview for, or whether it's something else, just put yourself out there, my darling. Just keep going, keep trying. Put yourself out there. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. Chris.
Linda Ann says, you speak so often about not giving into negativity. I am struggling so much with this and probably pushing people away because of my negative thoughts. I feel so alone, like there's no one who is really there for me. By the way, you're better than any therapist.
Thank you. Now listen, Linda Ann, when Chris was reading out your comments, did you actually feel something happening to you as I was listening to the comments? I was listening to what you'd said. Did you actually feel my arms coming around you? Because boy, oh boy, they were. My arms are coming around you. I'm holding you safe. I'm holding you tight. As are, I'm told by Grey Eagle, whose arms are whose arms are also around you. That your loved ones in the spirit world are always there with you. Please, 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 my darling, when you feel like you're sort of feeling down in the dumps, and I know how easy it is to get down there, and I know how difficult it is to pull yourself back up, would you please put your arms around yourself and visualize that my arms are around you and I will lift you out of it if you help me. Let's do it together, shall we? Let's lift you out of this. Just remind yourself, I'm not alone because Rosemary's here. I'm not alone because Grey Eagle's here. I'm not alone because my loved ones in the spirit world are here. It's hard to do it, but I want you to try. Will you try for us? And can you please let us know how you do? Chris.
Jean says, I want to thank you for all that you've done, Rosemary. I have read your books years ago, and it has opened me up to the spirit world. And then Ginny says, Rosemary, I love your books and you. What do you see about my life and coming up for me in the next 4 months?
Well, unfortunately, you've asked too late, and I don't see anything. For those of you who do want to know more, who do want to go more in depth with things. So I'm going to suggest that perhaps there are two things you can do. You can either book an appointment and have a consultation, whether it's with me or somebody like me, it's fine. Or you can look out for our next webinar when we talk the spirit world, and where many people get messages much more in detail and much more thorough messages than perhaps you would get in a show like this one. So we're going to be letting you know when our next webinar is. As I've said, we're not doing anything at the moment until I get back home to Florida. And then, then let's see what happens. We'll be planning all sorts of things for you. Remember, we are going to be doing an off the cuff. Now, off the cuff means that we're not going to give you a time or a place or anything. We're just going to turn up. That's what off the cuff means. We're just going to turn up. And you'll get a little notification if you are, sort of clicked into us. I don't know what you have to do, Chris, to get a notification, but
they just need to subscribe to either your Facebook pages or YouTube.
So there you are. Subscribe either to the Facebook page or to YouTube. Here you are. Whatever medium you're on at the moment watching me, there'll be a little subscribe button somewhere, and you click on it. And then every time we come on, because our off the cuff, we never know when it's going to happen. We surprise ourselves very often. Sometimes Chris will call me up and she'll say, out of the blue, what do you think? And I'll say, sure. Or I'll call her up and I'll say, hey, you doing anything? What do you think? And she'll say, okay. So we never know, we never plan it, and it's so much fun, and we have more questions, and we'll be doing that hopefully sometime during the rest of today. So look out for that. If you want an appointment, all you have to do is email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, preferably Chris, Kris, at rosemaryaltea.com, because she answers all of those emails that you send in. Doesn't she do a fabulous job? Or you can go to the website and check it all out before you even attempt. So, so whether you want to join in with our online, our webinars, or whether you want a personal private consultation with me or with somebody else, that's what you need to do. When you want more in-depth help and guidance, that's what you need to do. Chris?
Well, I think we're over time now, Rosemary. So I think we should sign off and then hopefully see people later.
That sounds like a great idea to me. My grandson is obviously out in the background there. Someone's been such a good boy this morning. So let's say thank you very much, everybody. We've had a thoroughly nice little over an hour here. Thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to every Thursday. We should be back next Thursday, same time, same place, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I should be in Florida, hopefully by then. It's sort of like, it's painful, but it's good, but it's painful. I don't want to leave my boy. But anyway, we'll be in Florida next week. So, same time, same place, Thursday morning or Saturday. Every Saturday morning, we'll be doing a Saturday morning this Saturday. Again, same time, same place. When I say same time, same place, I mean 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and wherever you find me, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or wherever it is you tune into me, that's what we should be doing on Saturday morning. We'll have our story time. We shall be popping in and out for the off-the-cuff stuff also. Today, you never know, maybe tomorrow, you never know what's going to happen. We'll fool you. But if you want to know when they are, what happens is you subscribe and then you get a little notification. It just flashes up for like a second or two on your phone or on your whatever it is you're using, and it'll say Rosemary Altea is live, and then you choose to come on or not. But we love to have you on. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You are all wonderful. I'd like to also say thank you to Chris, and especially I would like to say thank you to my spirit guide Grey Eagle, who as always is there with me. Please, everyone out there, have a very, very blessed rest of the day, and have a very blessed rest of the week, and have a great and enjoyable weekend, everybody.